Introduced in 1989 by Tech21, the original Sansamp was a revolutionary and game-changing pedal. This pedal is essentially the original amp modeler decades before amp sims were even a thing. This pedal broke ground by giving people the ability to emulate many different combinations of amps, speakers, and even miking emulation all in one. The word Sansamp is French, and it means without an amp. With its direct out, it was designed to take the place of an entire amp rig in both a live and studio environments. From 1989 to 1993, it was just called Sansamp. At some point in late 1993, it was renamed the Sansamp Classic, and it remains that way to this day. While Kurt Cobain is primarily associated with the Boss DS1 and Boss DS2 for distortion pedals, he started using the Sansamp during the In Utero era, which gave his distorted tone a completely different character. With this now being his main pedal, in my opinion, it gave him the thickest, fullest, and heaviest distorted tone he achieved in his short career. Personally, the Sansamp is easily my favorite distortion pedal, and I'd go as far as saying that's just my favorite pedal, period. My favorite guitar sound of all time is Kurt's JB Mustangs going through the original Sansamp. So I cannot tell you how excited I was when I first found out that FTelectronica was making their own version of the Sansamp. This is their SaintAmp pedal, an impressively accurate clone of the main In Utero era distortion pedal. All the controls of the original are replicated with knobs for amplifier drive, presence drive, output, and high. The 8 center dip switches, where the majority of your amp and miking emulation is, are all replicated. And right off the bat, my first impression of this pedal was that these switches feel a lot more sturdy and more durable than the switches on the original Sansamp. It also has the Sansamp lead, normal, and bass switch on the bottom right. These emulate 3 different preamp styles. Lead emulates Marshall, normal emulates Mesa Boogie, and bass emulates Fender. Of course, the very first thing I did with this pedal was set it to Kurt's settings to see how close it can get to his dark In Utero tour sound. Let me tell you, I got the biggest smile on my face the first time I played through this pedal. It is 100% replicating Kurt's live Sansamp sound. But it's also been said that Kurt used his Sansamp all over the In Utero album. So can the SaintAmp do In Utero studio tones as well? So yes and yes, it completely checks off both Nirvana boxes for me. Another burning curiosity I had was, does it sound closer to the original Sansamp or the Sansamp Classic? I have always heard a difference between these two pedals, with my vintage 1993 Sansamp having just a little more warmth in the low mids that my modern Sansamp Classic seems to be lacking. For Nirvana tones, I now strictly use my vintage unit as I feel like it sounds just a little more like Kurt. But on the other hand, I use my Sansamp Classic for anything not Nirvana related. I feel like that one cuts through the mix just a little better. Thanks to the Nirvana connection, the original Sansamps now go for ridiculous money. So now let's answer the big question: which version of the Sansamp does the SaintAmp sound closer to? With my eyes closed, I don't think I would be able to tell the difference between my vintage Sansamp and the SaintAmp. To my ears, those two are sounding nearly identical, while the Sansamp Classic is still sticking out as the one that is slightly different. But we can't talk about Kurt's Sansamp tones without bringing up his iconic polychorus effects. Let's now pair the SaintAmp with the Plurichorus, which is FTelectronica's take on the Electro-Harmonix polychorus / echo flanger. Let's see how well this combo tackles the most sought after In Utero era sounds. Honestly, everyone, I'm not sure how they've done it, but FTelectronica has completely nailed replicating the sound of the original Sansamp. With the vintage units now being so rare and so expensive, I'm now always paranoid about my vintage unit either breaking or completely dying on me since it's over 30 years old. I'm super relieved to know that even in that nightmare scenario, I now still have those same exact sounds available to me thanks to the FTelectronica and their brilliant SaintAmp. But more importantly, there's now an affordable Sansamp Sansamp clone on the market that does an excellent job tackling all the Nirvana sounds that you would expect it to. To learn more about the SaintAmp, FTelectronica's website will be linked here and in the video description. Huge, tremendous thank you to FTelectronica for sending me this pedal and for giving me the opportunity to present it to you all. It's really exciting to see my favorite pedal of all time replicated so well. Thank you all so much for watching, and an extra special shout out to my Patreon supporters. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Nirvana Guitars, and subscribe right here on YouTube for more weekly Nirvana gear videos like this, and I'll see you in the next one.